to the whispers, no room for doubt. Parables drop stronger than gold faucets. Souls hydrated from divine prophets. Study the book, change perspectives. Carefully crafted, not too subjective. A year to reflect, learning perfect. Patterns of grace that time can't deflect. Old Testament drops deep and so real. Kings and warriors, covenant seals. Split that Red Sea, divine reveal. Commandments written, not made of steel. Bethlehem birth to cross on the hill. Unfolding the Navic blessings, pastor with skill. Scripture flip, every verse fulfilled.
Through the word, every verse, every chapter, nothing unheard. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered. Spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ. Flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Your emotes in the chat, praising the message. Flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick. Raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions. Streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extends. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered. Spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ. Flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Your emotes in the chat, praising the message. Flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick. Raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions. Streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extends. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. 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 Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick. Raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick.
Flat cap pastor, dashing through pages. Chronicles, Gospels, prophets, sages. Leviticus, laws to Paul's fine phrases. Turning them corners, your spiritual mazes. Genesis to Revelation, so divine. Flip them scripts, endless grace you'll find. Psalms singing sweet, unbroken lines. Hitting that rhythm, wordplay refined. Anybody in here blessed? Anybody in here blessed? Bible in 1 year, we don't rest. Anybody in here blessed? Wake up early, the dawn's light shimmers. Spiritual breakfast, soul food dinners. Isaiah's vision, Ezekiel's figures. Walk through the fire, no one limbers. Kings and judges, prophets, prophets. offers no room for doubt. Parables drop stronger than gold faucets. Souls hydrated from divine prophets. Studied the book, changed perspectives. Carefully crafted, not too subjective. A year to reflect, learning perfect. Patterns of grace that time can't deflect. Old Testament drops deep and so real. Kings and warriors, covenant seals. Split that Red Sea, divine reveal. Commandments written, not made of steel. Bethlehem birth to cross on the hill. Unfolding the never blessings, pastor with skill. Scripture flip, every verse fulfilled.
Through the word, every verse, every chapter, nothing unheard. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered. Spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ. Flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Your emotes in the chat, praising the message. Flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick. Raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions. Streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extends. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered. Spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ. Flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Your emotes in the chat, praising the message. Flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick. Raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions. Streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extends. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. 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 Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Hope your day is a wonderful day today. I see several of you in here. Artsy Bible Nerd, good to see you, friend. Hope your day is going well. Hope your day's going well. All right. We do have podcast later today. That is going to be a blast. Got Annika's Cakery, who is going to be here today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And then next week we've got Night Saber. And then I'm, rebranding the podcast. I'm debating if I just take a break over the last 2 weeks of the year. I took a break, in November, but and then just work on the rebranding and then launch again, or I rebrand and I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. But the schedule of release might take a break, regardless if the streaming schedule takes a break or not. Because I just had a streaming break, so I don't necessarily need a break in the stream. So we'll see. I'll have to decide the next day or two if I start trying to schedule some. Which might be kind of hard, but might actually be kind of easy. Maybe there's some people who have more time because they have a few days off work and maybe they've got more time to schedule the podcast. So All right. Bible with the battles. Yeah. Battles. Have you heard the new name for the podcast? Have you heard the new name? I'm super excited about the new name of the podcast. All right, we are in X. Why did I put ED? X Otis today. So it's no longer an Otis, it is an X Otis. Yeah, I like the new name. Andy Chino. That's why I was getting it mixed up. My brain was trying to put Andy and Chino together and going CJ for some reason. I don't know. Has a great write-up of a description of the podcast that I super, super love. So that hopefully will accomplish the second thing that I want to do at the podcast, which is get it in front of the eyeballs of churches and people who otherwise would not realize what's going on to be validated or to go to their pastors or other church leaders or family and say, see, this is legit. God is up to work here, and he already is at work. So that's hope. That's one of the hopes for the new year, is to break into that. And then also to bring more validation. Going to be working on writing for stuff, blogs. So I got to decide on the blogs. It might be, I don't know what the rhythm is of releasing them. I'm just going to start working on it. But I think that means, and I'm not going to do it this year. I'll just wait till January. That we'll be going back to, because we did it for much of the year. We did the co-working streams, and I think I'm going to go back to the co-working streams. Yeah, I can't wait to. I don't know if you saw what I did with yours. You down with DPP? Yeah, you know me. The Digital Pavement Podcast. If you're interested, if you're urban, check out the Digital Pavement Podcast. That's going to be fun. Anyway, I don't know if you need an intro music song. You down with DPP? Yeah, you know me. You down with DPP? Yeah, you know me. I don't know. You might get copyrighted, so maybe don't do that. But the younger gen, like if you're just, reusing, the hook, you should be okay. That's usable, right? All right. Let's see. Ooh, the lake is super calm today. Hadn't peeked at it. It's super calm. What was the thing? Okay. Yeah, that's what it was. So I shared this in the Discord. Let me find this a second. Let me find this. Oh, no, wrong place. Wrong place. It'll be under prayers where I shared it. I got a prayer request and I want to share. There we go. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Oh. Try that again. And I need to delete the intro piece, or the explanation piece here. There we go. Naughty by nature be coming for you. Yeah. Okay. So this is my neighbor. I just saw this post on Facebook yesterday. So, John suffered a cardiac arrest and is now fighting for his life in a coma. His wife, Carissa, is staying by his side in the hospital, and the two children are at home. I believe they're both graduated from high school. I know she is. I do not know that I've met the son. Keeping up with school and work and visiting father as often as possible. You do not need to live locally to support. Thank you for your help. So, drop-off time, 5:30. People to cook for. Lasagna, rice, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, spaghetti, meatballs. I might do that. Least favorite items: veggies, fish, salad. Likes lettuce, though, on a sandwich. On a sandwich. If anyone has questions, please contact Madison. Porch drop-off is fine as well if no one answers. Okay. So I might be doing this. I might be looking at what I can drop off. Meal calendar. Ooh, I didn't scroll down to see this. Cabbage rolls and snacks. Okay, I am definitely going to do this. Okay. Anyway, yeah, anyway. Carissa is so sweet, and had several chats with her over the years. Like, my neighbors and we're not super close. We don't like hang out or anything, but I saw this and I need to step in and do it. So anyway, we've got to pass the cap right now, but I'm sharing this for prayers, and then we'll see how things go. I chatted with her shortly yesterday, and things just do not sound like they're doing great. So, okay. Well, while I'm there, I might as well share the pass the cap. So we are passing the cap for Curly Fit Gamer. She's single mom now, trying to take care of kids, trying to figure out income, no support from X, and trying to make sure that she's able to get the legal support she needs as she goes through this. So if you are able to help, this is our pass the cap for the month, or not the month, for this week is Curly Fit Gamer. So if you're able to help, if not, again, be in prayer. Okay, so looking at where we are at, we are in Exodus 20 today, Torah Tuesday, and we are looking at Exodus 20, which is on Mount Sinai. So we went through a bunch of description of getting to Mount Sinai and then Moses going up on the mountain. And what we have in the whole scenario, this is what we need to realize. What we have in the whole scenario here is the people of Israel agreeing to be God's holy nation. So they are supposed to be a kingdom of priests. So they are to act as priests for the whole world. What do the priests do? The priests go between you and God, and they offer sacrifices, and they do those things. Now, in order for Israel to become a nation of priests, they need people that know and understand and do those things. So right now, it is Moses who is going in between the people and God, and he is going to help teach the Levites and then those who are the sons of Aaron how to do that. The Levites are going to assist the priests, and then they are going to all resemble and follow after that guide that is given, and then the people are to follow after that guide so that the world will be able to. So this is this whole big thing, and the people have, let's just back up. The people have agreed to this. We have the whole setting boundaries, lest anyone come up here, go down and solemnly warn them, blah, blah, blah. We've said it like 3 times here. Okay. Then Moses went down the mountain to sanctify the people and wash their clothes. He said to people, "Be ready on the 3rd day. Do not approach your wives for marital relations on the 3rd day. In the morning there was thunder and lightning, and a dense cloud was on the mountain, and the sounds of a very, very large horn, very hard, a very horn. All the people who were in the camp trembled. Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet God, and they took their place at the foot of the mountain. Now Mount Sinai was completely covered with smoke, because the Lord has descended in fire, and it was smoke went up like the smoke of a great furnace, and the whole mountain shook violently. When the sound of the horn grew louder and louder, Moses was speaking, and God was answering him with a voice. Okay, I thought there was a section here. Okay, we'll go down to solemnly warn. It must be before that. Da-da-da-da. Okay, Moses summoned the elders, and they set before them. Okay, they answer together. All the Lord has commanded, we will do. There we go. So we have the whole thing. All the Lord commanded, we will do. So they have. So if you want to think about this, this whole setup is a marriage with God and the people of Israel. That's what I was trying to get to. The whole setup here is a marriage between God and the people of Israel. And so they have accepted his proposal. Now Moses is going to go to the Father and be with the Father to make everything prepared for the people. Like, if you think about this, you go into, when you have the betrothal, then the husband-to-be goes away and is going to make preparations to bring his bride home. So when the people are, when the place is prepared, then the Father says everything is good, and you will go and you will get the people and bring them there. Like, we have this whole thing playing out that way. Like, the betrothal agreement is being fleshed out here at the mountain, and then we're going to have the time of waiting in the desert until the land is prepared, the home for the bride, and then the bride is going to be brought into the home. So when they are crossing the Jordan and going into the land, they are going into the home that's been prepared for them. But you can also look at it a little bit differently. It's not fully prepared until Joshua conquers the land, and then they settle. That's the point. But I hope you get the whole thing. From Mount Sinai until they are in the land is the whole setup of a marriage covenant. And the keys of the marriage covenant are being laid out here in the betrothal ceremony on some way. And some people will say it's a marriage ceremony. I kind of, if you extend the idea of it can't fully, it's a binding marriage. Okay, so here's the one thing that's different. When you have the betrothal, think about this with Mary and Joseph. He had in mind to put her away quietly, which he had the legal right to do, to put her away, but he's going to do it quietly because it's already legally binding because they're betrothed. So God is going to do the same thing here with this is a legally binding establishment of the covenant relationship of marriage with God and his people here at Mount Sinai. So, Pre-Pony! How we doing, friend? You are up early. Good to see you. Doing well. Got a bunch of things I'm planning this week and trying to get them done. And starting here with Exodus is going to be a good day. Okay. God spoke all these words. Okay, so here's one of the things that's different from the way the Jews look at it. We think of it as the 10 Commandments. They think of it as the 10 words. God spoke all these words. It's the 10 words that are spoken. The Bible makes it clear that the law was the revelation of God at Mount Sinai, and yet study has shown that the law code form follows a literary pattern of covenant codes in the late Bronze Age, notably the Hittite codes. The point of such codes is that all the covenant stipulations are appropriate because of the wonderful things that the sovereign has done for the people. God is using a well-known literary form, was both drawing on the people's knowledge of such to impress their duties on them, as well as putting new wine into new wineskins. The whole nature of God's code was on a much higher level. For this general structure, blah, 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 this guy wrote, for the 10 words specifically, the 10, blah, 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 see also article, the Israelite household in the Decalogue, more books, more books. Okay, that's all that is. Wow, that's a long footnote to reference a bunch of books. Genesis Farm. Welcome in, welcome in. You've been here just locked in, and you get up at 5 every day. It'll eventually kill you. Wow. My mom, for years, has gotten up at 4 a.m., and she now works third shift, and she still wants to get up at 4 a.m., which is weird because when she works, she doesn't get home until like 8 o'clock. So, that's weird. Ooh, how does this relate with Jesus being the living word? That's an interesting thing. Yeah. So the 10 words, let's go look at the Hebrew here a minute. Knew we wouldn't get far. What does the Hebrew actually say? Then God spake all these words. Debar. We got ads coming in, so we won't get far.
Strong's H 1697.
You have hobbies that take takes up
Bavard.
until midnight. Utterances, words. Okay, want to know first usage? A Genesis 11 and of one speech. So they are of one language and of one speech. And I'm wondering, where's the Hebrew, or where's the Greek? Does it have the Greek LXX? Where's that? It's usually a little... This is supposed to be used so often, they're not giving it to me. All right, we got ads coming in. Let's take a look at the fishies today.
Flat cap pastor rocks his tweed, streaming life by the reeds. Fish pond calm and glassy clear, view it all right from here. Dapper man with sax in hand, plays tunes by his quiet land. Acoustic guitar in the breeze serenades the fish with ease. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his song. Flat cap pastor shows the way, stream it live come what may. With his cam he shows it all, little fish both big and small. Life in ponds so serene, nature's beauty on a screen. See the ripples, watch the flow, hear the music, gentle glow. Flat cap's charm and calming tone makes the fish feel right at home. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his song. Flat cap pastor shows the way, stream it live come what may.
All right, we back. The fish from the pond, all the little guys are now in my back room where I built a nursery for all of the
big and small.
eggs to hatch for 'em, and it's super big. It is
Nature's beauty on a screen.
8 foot by 30 inches by 18 inches. So it's a big area. So it's a giant aquarium, but not glass.
Flat cap's charm
So I moved all of them in there, and I took the underwater cam
feel right at home.
and I put it in there. So if you want to see the fish underwater, that is on the fish channel there. So, all right. Yeah, so my mama's you're normally in bed at 10. So am I, but I was up later than that last night as well, and I'm paying for it today. All right, so Artsy, your question there on words. I went and looked up debar, which is word, words, speech, utterance. it did not give me what that word is translated to in the LXX. So that would have been our clue as to how to see if there's a connection there. Sometimes we get that with Blue Letter Bible, that it will give us the translation over from the Hebrew into the Greek so we know what word is used. But this word is so prevalent and so common, it did not give us the LXX rendering here when I go to look. So it would usually be somewhere in here. It will say, hey, this isn't used much. Do you want to see the usage in the Greek? And it just did not give that to me here. So I do not know if it is the word logos, which would be the connection that we would be looking for if there is a direct intended connection. But God spoke all of these words. I think since it's not the same word that we have for and God said. Now, wait a minute. Let me check one thing. Maybe let me check if this is the and God said. So this is the word to speak. So that is the noun. No, it's still God spake to Noah. So it is not and God said. It does not look like it's and God said. Okay. So what? I'm curious now. What is that? I got to go look that up. Because if we have a connection to Genesis 1 and God said, then we can get a connection to Logos for sure. Okay, and God said, Genesis 1:3, Amar. To speak, to utter, to call, to answer, to be told, to boast, to avow. Okay. All right, so there could be, but I don't know how much I want to make a direct connection there of the words. There is the aspect of God spoke and creation happened, and God is speaking here, and the people need to follow, and God and Jesus is the Word made flesh. There could be, but not directly from the word choice. Let me put it that way. Not directly from word choice is it there, but from the action of God, we could see it. I think we could. All right, Mad Mama, heard on the radio that it is supposed to rain tomorrow. You don't want it to rain and get rid of the beautiful snow that is currently flying. Where I am right at the border between we're supposed to get, let me put it this way. A mile north of me is supposed to get 3 to 6 inches, and where I am south is supposed to get 1 to 3 inches, and below that is rain. Yeah, so there is a chance. It's going to be by function that you'd make the connection. Yeah, by function, I think we can make the connection, if that makes sense. Okay. Like God is speaking these words that say, here's how you are to follow me, and Jesus speaks these words. He is the Logos who says, here's the way you are to follow me. In that way, we have typology maybe more than word use there, because Jesus is being a type of giver of the law when he gives instructions to his disciple. He does that on the mountain. So the Sermon on the Mount is a reflection of what God does here. And yeah. I think you can go there. Anyway, that was fun. I love that question, man. That was super good. Now, I might come back. So I'm going to do this on Thursday. So if you have not, and this is just new. So I have this Venture AI. So I have friends who are doing this. So you have a check-in that you can do. It's an AI coach for discipleship. So I'll have to figure out how to word it, but I'm going to put it in here and play with it and share this. So on Thursday, what we're going to be doing for Transform Thursday, we're going to be playing with AI. So bring your questions. So Artsy, I'm going to write this idea down here, and we'll look at that further and see what the AI suggests here on Thursday. So let me write that down. Exodus 20, word connect to Jesus. The 10 words I'm going to do, are they equal to Jesus as Logos? Now, I am testing this, and so it is in alpha. It's not even beta testing, but I'll talk about that more, and then I will invite, if you are interested in sussing it out, and I say that because we're finding bugs, so it needs to, if I have bugs found, and I want to put it on the rigorous side of asking it heavy theological questions and seeing what it does for answers on that. So if you are interested at all, be here on Thursday or watch the VOD or DM me, and we can have a further conversation, or I can connect you with my friends. But I will have a codes for like 10 people to go and join that and participate in helping to figure out what it's doing well, what it needs to work on. So, all right. So the 10 words, where does it start with? Well, like it was mentioning, a suzerain vassal agreement. It is going to start with the explanation of what the suzerain has done for the vassal. So, I am the Lord, I, the Lord, am your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. So we don't think of that as one of the words. Hebrew does. Now, I know how they number the 10 words versus how we number the 10 commandments is different. I've seen it before. I just can't keep it straight in my mind. It's one of those things like you see it and you go, nah, I don't know. Can't remember. By the way, I just watched a VOD yesterday that was talking about when you are scrolling, it is detrimental to memory. When you learn something new, one of the best ways to keep it from just being in short-term memory and not recalling it is to pause 10 seconds before you add something new. Your brain needs to process it. And if you keep adding new things, you will not move things to long-term memory. So if you come across something that is new and interesting and you want to remember it, then pause for 10 seconds and think about what you just learned for 10 seconds before moving on. So when I do the inadvertent, ooh, and I pause for 10 seconds and we get jazz hands, I did not know this, but I am actually helping us be able to accomplish that by pausing and pondering the thing that we just came across for 10 seconds or more, and I'm helping you remember things. So look at that. All right. Okay, so God brought you out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. Okay, what do we have on the footnotes? The position is expressed here by the use of the preposition lamed, to be verb. Okay, I don't need to go into that further. You shall not have... Oh. Oh my goodness. Pound cake got auto-modded. No cake for you. Pound cake got auto-modded. That is hilarious. I think I might have to go and put a dash in there and see if that changes it, but that's funny. Lemon pound cake got auto-modded. Okay. Just laughing at that. Okay, so you shall have no other gods before me. What do we have on the footnote for that? The expression al panay has several possible interpretations. driver suggests in front of me, meaning obliging me to behold them, or also given a preeminence above me. You shall not prefer other gods to me. Okay, illustrates it with marriage. The wife could belong to only one man, while every man was another man. They continue to exist, but they are not available to her. Okay, yeah, that's okay. Geesh, you weren't following. Welcome in, friend. Welcome in. Those that do not know Geesh, he was the one helping us with the 90-day Helldiver Challenge, which right there is my trophy. I've got the trophy prominently displayed in the background, hidden in plain sight, which will be painted at some point. Will be painted. We will do that at some point on stream. We will paint it. Well, because why not? Because why not? Now, I might put a spray coat of white over the whole thing to start with so I get a primer coat. I won't probably do that on stream because then we'll have to watch paint dry, and that won't be any fun. But welcome in, Geesh. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. Well, Geesh, that's why I was clarifying the question of when they started, because when they start will make a difference of what I sign up for or don't sign up for. Because I'm not planning on starting anything in December. So if they start in December, maybe I'll join later. I'm also trying to work on some employment opportunities. So if that happens, that'll change. But if I don't sign up, I need to get back on and riding my bike, and that will be a thing I'll be doing. So I'll be doing something. And keep it up with the HP group in Reach Conference. So, but there's a couple of them that look interesting. I think yours was twice a week in the weightlifting. I'm not the biggest fan of weightlifting. I've always found it as boring as can be, but I know that it's beneficial. So doing it with other people would make it more fun. So I'm inclined to think about that one. So. Oh, yeah, exactly. They're not 90-day challenge. They're going to be continuous. Or at least they're going to start and plan to continue, and maybe, who knows, you get down the road 3 months to 6 months and you modify or change things. But yeah, the plan to be ongoing connection, absolutely. Okay. All right, so you shall have no other gods before me. Here's one thing that we, as living on this side of the Enlightenment, may struggle with, and maybe you've heard this, and this comes from some of the other places that are ridiculing idols because they're man-made, and so your gods are made by hand, so they're not real. So we diminish that, and we don't think that there are actual, real spiritual beings that have power. Now, the Bible, throughout the Old Testament, recognizes that there is a spiritual realm where people have power. And right here, God does not need to tell you, don't have other gods before me, unless there are people that are worshiping things that have power that are claiming to be gods. Now, they are not gods in the sense that God, the creator of the universe, is the one and only true God. They are false gods. They are spiritual beings from the spiritual realm that have some power that do, in fact, give something to their worshipers, or else they would not be worshipped. So they are, in fact, some way capable of doing things. They're only capable of copying what God does and can't copy everything he does. They're a false proximity to what he does. But God doesn't need to say, don't have any other gods before me, unless there's actually the possibility of there being other gods. Now, I know that you probably have heard sermons, and I know I have, we're talking about what our other gods are, is putting, things in place of God, like my streaming and my scrolling, Don't put that above God. Okay, we're diminishing what this command is about, like turning to other beings and other things that have power. Now, maybe you can make an argument that those spiritual beings that have power have deviated over into the things that we spend our time in, and maybe they are, but that's not the way that the Old Testament saw it. The Old Testament saw it as these entities, which we go to Deuteronomy 32, had rule and reign over the nations, and they were supposed to point people to God from those nations. Instead, they said, how about you worship me instead of God? So God is not telling them don't do something that they can't do. They can worship other gods. They can place them higher. Go to places where Christianity is not prominent, and you will be able to see the spiritual realm at work. Go to places where the Enlightenment has not had a heavy influence, and you will be able to see the spiritual realm at work. So, not turning and going to those, not putting them above God or preeminence above him. In fact, I would say the comparison here is it's not like, well, I'll serve God first and then I'll serve Baal second. No, it's not that, because God will say he's a jealous God later. We'll get to that part. So, is it a me problem, Preponi? What do you mean? Is it a me problem? We can be selfish, but I don't think that's a difference of that'd be more of a rejection of God and not putting God in the proper place, but it wouldn't necessarily be putting other gods before him. Okay. All good? Okay. 4, you shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water below. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. So, the placement of another god. Now, here's the thing that we get, like, we use the New Testament and we beat up the idea of an idol is just something carved with human hands. And, stream paused. Oh, okay. I got you now. So that there's nothing real about it. No, we have the wrong image there. A carved image is trying to create a dwelling place for the God to be able to dwell. You're not creating the God, you're creating a dwelling place. The same way that God formed out of the dust of the ground an image, a likeness of him that through his spirit indwells us. So it is those other entities creating a false reflection of what God did in creation by creating and carving an image, and they are inviting the worshiper to go and do that. So God is saying, you shall not have any of that. You can't carve them. You cannot make them and bow down and serve them. And I think that's a key here, because they will take this to the degree that you can't carve and have images of anything. And I don't think that, like, for instance, if I have, well, they're 3D printed fish back here. If I have 3D printed fish, did I just violate this? No. I'm not worshiping it, and I'm not using that as a dwelling place for the fish god to come in and dwell those 3D printed fish. So, or here's the trophy that is Helldiver, and is that an image and a likeness of anything that's in heaven above and earth below and the waters? You shall not bow down to them or serve them. Well, I'm not bowing down and serving them. Okay? But this would be one of the reasons why the Hebrews, the Jews, the Israelites do not have carved images, and they do not have art that is an image of things, because they take this literally. I don't think that's the way we're supposed to. I think it's about for the purposes of worship, because we're all in the having other gods, and part of that process that the other nations are doing is all of that producing of an image that you can worship and that you can connect with and invite that deity into. It says, for I, the Lord, am a jealous God. Okay. The word jealous is the same word translated as zeal or zealous. I don't know if you knew that. The word describes a passion, intensity to protect or defend something that is jeopardized. The word can also have the sense of envy, but in the case of an object is out of bounds. So it's not envious of. So, like, think about this. Like, if you have children and they are spending a lot of time with some friends' parents instead of spending time with you, are you not going to be in some ways jealous for your position and relationship with them? Okay? Because yours is the true relationship with them, and they are neglecting that relationship in order to pursue a different relationship. Same would go for spouse, but I wanted to pick children there for a minute because I think that's a better image there. But there is, like I said, this is all about... You need 10 seconds to process that. Okay, I'll pause for 10 seconds. Nah, probably not. Yeah, so there is God's jealousy is connected to the fact that I found another deity and I'm going to include that deity in my worship scheme so that I cover all my bases. So, for instance, if I'm in a drought, which, by the way, we're covered with snow, but we're still in a drought technically. We're in a small drought, but I know there's places with more. We're in a drought. What would I do to get out of the drought? Pray to the drought god, or the rain god, worship the rain god, make offerings to the rain god so that I get out of it. If the nations around are doing that and they're not in a drought and I'm worshiping God and it's not working, how about I hedge my bets and I add that to my scope of things I do? God's like, no. Now, I know that's not the way we think about things today. So we try to go, well, what do we have and what do we place as gods? And it's things. Well, no, that's not the idea here. That's not the idea. So don't just automatically go down that road. Okay, responding to the transgressions of the fathers by dealing with children to the third and fourth generation of those who reject me. We'll come back to this after the ads. You know what? I'm going to snooze the ads. I want to spend. I don't want to wait. Dealing with the transgressions of the father to the third and fourth generation of those who reject me, and showing covenant faithfulness to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandment. Let's start with the second half of this. 1,000 generations, showing covenant faithfulness to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments. If we have 1,000 generations, and let's just make the assumption that 20 years is a generation, 20,000 years. Oh, wait, it's the year 2025. So, from, let's just say, the disciples, we'll pick on them for a minute, their faithfulness to follow God, God is still to this very day showing covenant faithfulness to the descendants of the disciples because they showed covenant faithfulness to God and following Jesus. Wow, that's a long time. Okay, so we neglect to focus on the 1,000 generations, and we focus on the responding to the fathers and dealing with the children to the third and fourth generations of those who reject me. Generations is not found. Okay. It's what's implied there. This is an important qualification to the principle. The word rendered reject is often translated hate and carries with it the idea of definitely rejecting and opposing God and his word. Such people are doomed to carry on their sins of the ancestors and bear guilt with them. See, here's where I think we get a faulty idea, because other places in Scripture it says that the children are not liable for the sins of their parents. They do not have to. So this has to mean something else. So the showing covenant faithfulness is the contrary. So that's the contrary position. For those who show covenant faithfulness, he is going to, that is what's going to happen for those who love and keep the commands. Follow the standard that God sets up. But those who reject the standard of God, he is going to respond to the transgressions of the father by dealing with the children. And here's the example that I like to use, and I think it's really good, and you've heard me say it a lot of times if you hang out in my stream. If I go to prison, the impact of me going to prison has natural consequences for my spouse, for my children, for my grandchildren, and even my great-grandchildren. If I am the sole provider and I go to prison, or even if I'm an equal provider and now suddenly the household income is torn in two, it's torn in half, and now my spouse has to sell the home. The children are now living potentially in a less than desirable situation. They do not have me in the household. The consequences are going to be felt to the third and fourth generation because of my actions. I think that's what we're dealing with here. Not God sitting there and saying, well, you did that wrong, so now I'm going to punish your kids. Okay? This is a responding to the transgressions by you have broken relationship. Your kids are going to be outside of relationship with me. They're going to be outside of relationship with me. That has consequences. And it has natural consequences. I think that's all that God is describing here, with the transgression having results to the third and fourth generation. It is going to be dealt to them because of your actions. Now, in some cases, like Achan, everyone in the whole household is punished in that moment. But with like Achan's situation, if you know that, he's the one that stole the gold and the cloak and hid it under the tent. In that situation, he's hiding it under the tent. Now, can you be dwelling in a tent with a dirt floor and have something hidden in your tent and not know that something's hidden in your tent? I say no. So they all were in agreement in regards to it, including his spouse. Now, his children might not have had a say, but they were aware of it, and they had a chance. They had a chance to snitch and say it's dad, and they did not. So they bear the brunt of their own sin, not Achan's sin. It was a family sin because they were all in agreement. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with here. I hope that's making sense. We got ads coming in. I'm going to give you the BRB.
She's got that flat cap dapper look, making waves online, spreading the word on Twitch. Pastor with a cheerful heart, no lie, preaching joy so high to the sky. He'll be right back, yes, he'll be right back. He'll be back in 2 or 3. Flat cat dapper, flat cat dapper. We'll be right back after this break. No mistake, joy they make. I'll be right back, yeah. We'll be right back in 2 or 3. Right back after this break. No mistake, joy they make. I'll be right back, yes. I'll be right back in 2 or 3.
All right, all right. I know I am probably talking about these in a way that you've not heard before. So if you're like, I don't know that I'm buying everything you're selling, please push back or ask clarifying questions, okay? I know I talk about these in a way that is not the standard main way to talk about them, because most of the time, the 10 Commandments are talked about in a way for us to have sin management, and I don't see them as a way for us to have sin management. They are a way to be in relationship with God, which is a different way to view them. This is the way that I'm going to respond to the God that I love. How do I show love to the God who has given me everything that I have? This is the way I do it, by responding in covenant love, not by following a bunch of rules that are sin management. So, if the way I'm describing these is different than you've heard before, I hope that's a good thing for you, okay? I like to view things. Here is the rule, the standard. Now try to stay as close to the standard as you can and do not have deviation from it. But if you think about a poll, there is a plus or minus 3% or 5% that you could be off, even though that you think that you are right. That's what we're looking for here. We're not looking for perfection. We are looking for, here is the plumb line, and I want to be as straight as I can by holding myself up in everything I do to the plumb line to measure it, and that takes wisdom, not a checklist. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. All right. Moving on. You shall not bear the name of the Lord God in vain, for the Lord will not hold guiltless the one who bears his name in vain. Okay, I am intentionally not reading the translation there because I go in a totally different direction here. Let's go to verse 7. I need to back up and go to Exodus. There we go. Let's go to verse 7. Nasa. Nasa. Here is our key word. Let's go see. What does Nasa have? Nasha, should say. Nasha.
Strong's H 5375. Nasa. Nasa.
Okay. Bear, lift up. To bear, to take, to carry. Okay? So if you are lifting up, if you are bearing the name, we need to go back to creation. We are created in the image of God. We are image bearers of God. That's the idea here. Okay? So, well, I'll just do this. I went to Reach Conference. Okay? Also, you can see all of my logos over there. I'm wearing my Full Circle Beans shirt today. I am bearing the image of Full Circle Beans. I'm bearing the image of Reach Conference. I am bearing the name because of my association with it. If I go and I do things contrary to that relationship, I am bearing the name in vain. Okay? I am carrying the name. And so this happens, and you see it all the time. There are people who bear the name Christian, which means they are carrying the name of Christ, and they do things that are hateful and spiteful to their neighbors. They are bearing the name in vain. That's what this is talking about. This is not about speech. This is about you as a representative who proclaim that you are a follower, and then you do things that are contrary to being a follower. So if I claim to be a Christian and then I go and I mow people down with my automobile because I disagree with them, I am bearing the name in vain, and I will not be guiltless of bearing the name of Christian in vain and proclaiming to be that when I am doing nothing that demonstrates that. That's what this passage is about here. Altus, welcome in. Shalomi, my homies. So this is not about, oh, I said the name wrong. This is bearing the name. It is a representation of it. I am 100, like I tell you often that I'm 100% convinced that 80% of what I believe is 100% right. I just don't know which is the 80 and the 20. I am convinced on this. In this one, it's not about speech. It's just not. Because we were created in the image of God. We are the ones who are to represent him on the earth. And if we are saying we're in covenant relationship with you, we are the image bearer to the people. And this follows right on the sense after, don't have any other gods before me and don't make images of those gods. Now he's turning to, you are my image bearers in the land for people to see. So don't do it wrong. Don't do things contrary to bearing my image. That's what I see here. So maybe that's new. Maybe you disagree. I do not believe I will ever be convinced otherwise on this one. This one, like, once I saw it, I'm like, oh my goodness, this makes so much sense. Everything I do when I proclaim that I'm a Christian is bearing the name of Jesus. So everything I do that is contrary to that name, like, harming my neighbor, not loving my neighbor, neglecting things, treating people as less than human, are all bearing the name in vain. Okay. Remember the Sabbath day and set it apart as holy. For 6 days. Okay. What do we have here on remember? The text uses the infinitive absolute for the command for the Sabbath day, which is a sign of the Sinaitic covenant. The infinitive absolute functions in place of the emphatic imperative here. The absolute stresses the basic verbal idea of the root remembering. The verb includes the mental activity of recalling and pondering as well as the consequent action for such remembering. Okay. Interesting footnote. Set it apart as holy. Well, that's what holy means, is to set it apart. So I don't know why they needed to. I bet that's a translation thing. Okay. Not going to go into that footnote. Okay. So there are some people that will say that, will argue around creation absolutely was 6 literal days, or it wasn't 6 literal days. It wasn't 6 24-hour days. Regardless, they will make those arguments from Genesis 1. And they will say, there's the proof. It's in Genesis 1. You can't argue with that. I think you can, from Genesis 1, see it multiple ways. But here's the thing. From here, the argumentation for Sabbath is based on creation. So it doesn't matter if it's literal or not literal. The argumentation for Sabbath is based on the pattern that was established in God, whether literal or not literal, 6 days. So 6 days you may labor and do all your work, and the 7th is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, you or your sons or your daughter or your male servant or your female servant. So even your servants or your cattle or the resident foreigner who is in your gates. No one is supposed to work in the entire land. Why? For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth and the sea and all that is in them, and he rested the 7th day. Therefore God blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart as holy. So the rationale for a Sabbath, for a day of rest, is because God did that. And so we're following the typology of what God did. And here it's making the assertion that God did all of it in 6 days. So if you don't want to go to Genesis and say, hey, there's room for wiggle room on it being 6 literal days, it doesn't matter if they're literal days or not literal days, if they're symbolic days. Here, the establishment of Sabbath is based on 6 days and a seventh day of rest. It's the pattern that we're to follow, and it establishes the Sabbath. So, I don't know. I just think that's cool and a different place to go. D'Angelo Dark. I reckon when it says days, it really means time or phase. It could be seen that way, D'Angelo. And there are some that want to argue. So here's the thing that we neglect to realize often is throughout church history, the viewpoints of different passages change. But we only think that what we inherit is the valid viewpoint. So 200 years ago, the preeminent view of creation would have been along the lines of it was not 6 literal 24-hour days. But because of the creation museum and what preceded that out of the 50s, we have inherited in much of the Western church a literal viewpoint that says it was 6 literal 24-hour days. That viewpoint was not even prominent 150 years ago. It was a minority view that would have been laughed at even by the conservatives. They did not believe that. It is a transition that happens over time, which becomes embedded, and then people think that if you don't agree with it, then you must be outside the bounds of the church and of a proper reading of the Bible. The proper reading of the Bible ebbs and flows and changes, friends. And so give grace to people who disagree with you on things. But I don't care whether or not the other thing is the Bible isn't a science textbook. It is not answering the questions from a scientific standpoint. It is describing things from a who did it and a why they did it, not a how they did it. Yes, it's trying to describe function, but it's describing function and cause. It's not trying to describe things from a scientific perspective, which is the way we would approach things. It's not a historical perspective. It's not a scientific perspective. It's a theological perspective that says God is the one who did it. And it is contrary to all of the theories of everything around it that say it was accidental that creation happened. And instead, it is saying God intentionally created, and he intentionally created humans for their own purpose. He did not create them because he needed them to serve him. So there's a whole why and who that's being answered in creation. And so here, because of who God is, we model what we do because we're in relationship with God after the pattern he's already established of a work-rest relationship. So, and welcome in. I'm so glad you are here, and thank you for speaking out. Okay. Honor your father and your mother that you may live a long time in the land the Lord your God is giving you. So this is a conditional one again. The verb kabod is a pial infinitive. It calls for people to give their parents the respect and honor that is appropriate for them. It could be paraphrased to say, give them the weight of authority that they deserve. Next to God, parents are to be highly valued, cared for, and respected. Yes, also, this whole giving honor to your parents is also caring for them. This is also not spoken to children, okay? This is honor your father and your mother is as an adult. Okay, this isn't just a command here for children to obey. This is you are to still give proper position, place, prominence, authority to your parents, which is going to include caring for them and not neglecting them when they are aged. So this is not a command for kids, and we as parents need to put our thumb down on our kid and say, you're not honoring your mother. You're not honoring me. You need to do that and show me proper respect. This is not for a parent to enforce upon children. This is for children to contemplate the relationship as adults they have with the parents that raised them. Oh, somebody need to hear that one today? You shall not murder. Okay, now this has traditionally been translated as kill. However, that English translation has been taken in other ways. Angelo, I'd like to see the part of Exodus where it says, thou shalt shall do the same for their children. Oh, not all parents honor those Exodus verses. Yeah, absolutely. We do have in the New Testament, which I think is a retelling and expounding on this of fathers, do not exasperate your children. Do not do things that are going to cause your children to stumble. We are imperfect beings trying to raise imperfect beings, doing our best, and some of us go way, way, way out, thinking that we have supreme authority and should command our children's like a military officer has supreme authority over those underneath him, and we subjugate our children, and I don't think that's what it's supposed to be. But I don't think that's covered in this aspect of the 10 words or the 10 commandments here. But, yeah. Okay, you shall not murder. Okay, the verb refers to the premeditated or accidental taking of another life of a human being. It includes any unauthorized killing. It is used for the punishment of murder, but that would not be included in this prohibition. The commandment teaches I don't like using that word, the sanctity of human life, because that leads people to think a certain thing. I would go with we already had creation give us you are created in the image of God, and you shall not bear the image in vain, which already is talking about the sanctity of everybody around you and violating the sanctity of it. But here, yeah, it is not state-sanctioned actions, okay? Murder is the individual taking and doing something that is not sanctioned by the state. That's why I do like the translation, you shall not murder, as opposed to you shall not kill, because that has been used and interpreted to mean any death of a human is killing. Therefore, you, by going to war, are violent. Now, I really don't have any problem with people protesting war. In fact, I don't like war whatsoever. I'm simply saying I think it's misplaced to take this as an argument against war. I would say love your neighbor as yourself. Much better argument to go and fight against war is to say, how is this loving my neighbor? But I digress. Apokali, time to go to sleep, but blessings on all of you in the name of Jesus, and I will lurk. Thank you, Apokali. Appreciate it. And blessings upon you. May you get rest. Okay, you shall not commit adultery. So we get into these just statements now. So notice there's a whole section of explanation around things, and now there's just, hey, here's a list of things that are out of bounds within our relationship with each other. So the first part is about the relationship of the people with God, and now it's turned to the relationship of them to one another. The explanations are unnecessary in these cases because they are violating the first half. Every single one of these in the second half is violating the first half. Okay, this is a sin against the marriage of a fellow citizen. Yes, so this is a sin against the relationship of someone else who they are in a relationship. You are violating someone else's oath to another person. You are actually violating two people when you commit adultery. You shall not steal. The law protected the property of the Israelites. So don't take what you want by force or by theft. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. This is often translated bear false witness. So this is false testimony, okay? This has been given to say you shall not lie. This is not saying you shall not lie. This is saying giving false testimony against your neighbor. You are lying against your neighbor. You are saying something false against your neighbor. The implications here are such that your neighbor is going to have consequences because of your action. There are plenty of places in Scripture where people do, in fact, lie and deceive. The midwives of the Hebrews lie to Pharaoh. They are not deceiving and giving false testimony so that the Israelites get in trouble. They are protecting the Israelites. Therefore, it does not fall under this of giving false testimony against their neighbor. They are outright lying, absolutely. They are deceiving Pharaoh for the benefit of someone else. They are risking their own life for the benefit of others. That is not what it's talking about here. This is not just, hey, lying, all lying is a sin. This is saying you are doing something against someone else. You are testifying falsely to their disadvantage. You are harming them. Okay? Harming someone is the intent here, not protecting someone. So, hope that makes sense. Hope you're following along. Maybe you've never heard that. Like I said, I have a little bit different take on a lot of these. I've studied these a long time. I've listened to lots of people. I have dove into the Hebrew here and trying to just share my thoughts, and you don't have to agree with me. So, yes, God himself sent a lying spirit to Micah. Yeah. D'Angelo, I've wondered, what does covenant mean? Because you cannot always control how you feel about a certain thing, or our emotions don't have an on-off switch. So how would you avoid coveting? Oh, okay. We haven't got to that one. Oh, sorry. We haven't got to that one. We'll get to that in a second. 2016. I like how it acknowledges the neighbors are constantly at war with each other. It is minor, but I respect the fact that it is acknowledged and spoken about. 2016? Okay. Okay, so covet. We'll dive into the word. Thank you. You're getting the question. And I don't mind you getting ahead. We got an ad break coming in. So we will go to the fish here, and then we'll come back and we'll look at coveting. Altus, God said to Abraham, your wife said she is too old when Sarah said Abraham was too old, but that would be shaming her husband, so it is modified. Ooh, interesting there. Altus did not think about that one. Okay, let me give you the fishies, and we'll be right back.
Flat cat pastor rocks his tweed, streaming life by the reeds. Fish pond calm and glassy clear, view it all right from here. Dapper man with sax in hand, plays tunes by his quiet land. Acoustic guitar in the breeze serenades the fish with ease. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his song. Flat cat pastor shows the way, stream it live come what may. With his cam he shows it all, little fish both big and small. Life in pond so serene, nature's beauty on a screen. See the rip watch the flow. Hear the music, gentle glow. Flat cap's charm and calming tone makes the fish feel right at home. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his song. Flat cat pasture shows the way. Stream it live, come what may. Refue's Cammy shows it all. Little fish, both big and small. Life in ponds so serene. Nature's beauty on a screen. See the ripples, watch the flow. Hear the music, gentle glow. Flat cap's charm and calming tone.
All right, I just thought I would give you a view from the other channel there with the fish, because there's the camera, and those are all the fish that got brought in from the pond, because the pond has a leak and there's only a foot of water in there. Now they got about 18 inches, so this is probably close to the same amount of water they had. But with these smaller fish, I left the biggest ones out there. These smaller ones, I was concerned of them having issues. So, all right.
Flat cat pasture rocks his tweed.
Just wanted to show you that real quick. All right, Altus, when we read the Bible, we debate about everything and follow the 10th man rule. If 9 people agree on anything, then the 10th is obliged to disagree and create a reason to disagree. This ensures nothing is done within an echo chamber. Ooh, I like that. Hence why we have entire rooms at synagogues dedicated to debating each other. Okay, the correction, the lying spirit was sent to Jehoshaphat. Okay, I was not sure who, and I thought, well, maybe there's a second time where that is sent, you know. But yeah, there is the idea of a lying spirit sent to someone. So deception for purposes of helping people is not covered by the giving false testimony. False testimony here is I'm giving a false report about you so that you will suffer consequences. That's the idea here. So I'm either lying about something that you did not do and saying you did, or I'm lying about something you did and saying you didn't. So maybe I've been bribed and I'm lying that way. So I'm giving false testimony either for your benefit or my benefit, but the is not included. I'm doing something at my great risk for the benefit of other people. Ooh, some blackberries. You know, when I was a kid, we had lots of blackberry bushes, and I used to go pick them out there. Those are some thorny bushes, I tell you. Okay, so we had the question about covet. We're going to go dive into that in a minute. So let's read the verse 17 here so we can dive into that. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that belongs to your neighbor. So coveting is the problem here. The verb chamad focuses on the external act, not on the external act, but the internal mental activity behind the act, the motivation for it. The word can be used in a very good sense in Psalms, but it has a bad connotation in the context where the object desire is off limits. The command is aimed at curtailing the greedy desire for something belonging to a neighbor, a desire that leads to the taking it or attempting to take it. It was used in the story of the Garden of Eden for the tree that was desired. Oh, yes, Altus. Yeah, we haven't got to that. We're just getting the commands here, but the consequences of someone who did bear false testimony was for them to have the consequences the accused would have suffered. So if I claim you killed someone and the penalty would be murder, then I, by being found out to have testified against you, would have the consequences of that very thing that I was trying to have you undergo. Better to be guilty of lying with the intention to protect someone, as you punishment would be that you too would be protected. I like that thought. Okay. So let's go look at the word covet. 17. And I want to look here. It looks like second person masculine singular. So this is about you, the individual. This is not communal. Chamad.
Strong's H 2530. Chamad. Chamad.
Okay, to desire is what it is. And the first use, if your wife says, do I look fat in the dress? You can say no, even if she does. Exactly. You are doing it for her benefit. You are not, yeah. There's a real world application. Well, the other side is, let me not say, does it make her look fat? Does this dress look bad? If the answer is yes, and I say no, and she goes out in public and is humiliated by it, then I have deceived her. Now I am in the wrong. So it's a difference of self-view versus public ridicule. The answer might be different there. So just clarify. Nuance. I love some nuance there. Okay. So the description of the tree is that it was pleasant for the sight, and the tree was to be desired. So there is the, it's something that was off limits. Here's the thing. So the tree is the first thing that is pleasant to the sight. It is to be desired. It is desirable for making one wise. It is something that has been established as off limits. Your neighbor's house is off limits. Your neighbor's wife is off limits. His servants are off limits. His animals are off limits. Anything that he possesses is off limits. They are his. So just like the tree was established, the fruit was off limits. So this is not, for instance, the coveting is not a, wow, my neighbor got a really nice Mustang. I'd really like to have one. And that thought enters my mind. That's not what this is, okay? This is a dwelling upon that being consumed with the desire for it. Like, I am constantly thinking about, all I can think about is my neighbor's Mustang. I don't know why I picked Mustang. I think maybe because my neighbor has a Mustang. Maybe I didn't even think about that. My neighbor does have a Mustang. Pretty nice, white and blue one. But if that's what I am constantly thinking about, and then I will begin to plan a way to have the thing that is off limits. This is what begins with the Garden of Eden, when Eve begins to dwell on the fact that there was something desirable about taking and violating God's command and taking of the fruit. She now has planted the seed of sin in there. It takes root and it grows, and sin happens. So this is a warning against, do not go the route of Adam and Eve, of looking at something that is outside the bounds of your ability to take it. There's a difference between appreciation. There's a difference between acknowledging the beauty in it. Like, yeah, that's a really good looking tree. That looks like great fruit. And then going, and I'm then not thinking about it, going to the other tree and having stuff from the other tree. So it's a matter of off limits. But to go to the, where does this fall in? Having the thought come through your mind when something is beautiful or is desirable, to go, yeah, I could like to have that. It stops there. Not going all the time. I'm constantly thinking about, I keep calling to mind. I start beginning to think about, how could I get that for myself? What ways could I go and deceive and or plot and or manipulate and or now I've gone the wrong way. Altus, right, 100%. Never just act, even if you think it is righteous. Weigh out the possible outcomes and choose what to do after contemplating. Absolutely. Okay, so I hope I answered your question there on covet. If I have not, please come back with that and add more, Angelo. I should say D'Angelo. That's probably a full name, D'Angelo. So D'Angelo, say more if that didn't fully answer, because I understand what you're saying of like, hey, I'm watching whatever show with my wife and there's a beautiful woman on there and I can acknowledge that the woman is beautiful. But what I don't do is then begin to think about and be consumed with the thought of, if I were to have an occasion to have a relationship with, no, that's where it ends. You had a late waking too. Yes. Oh, sorry. Missed one. That should wake you up. Well, it wake me up if not because it's coffee, but because it's cold. Oh, you got the coffee ice cream. Okay, there's where the conversation started. I missed it. You hate late waking too? Well, I had a late night of not getting to sleep, which happens when my wife is not home. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. And I crawled out of bed this morning. So you ain't the only ones that are rolling a little slow today. Okay. As I said, though, if there's anything, D'Angelo, on covet here that I did not cover, I hope that makes sense. You didn't go until mid 3-ish? Oh, that's much later than me. Wow. You're doing well to be here. Okay. So here are the 10 words. That's how the Jewish view is. The 10 words, the 10 sayings, not the 10 commandments. They are sayings. They are things to adhere to, rather than check mark boxes that says, did you do this or not do this? They are things to adhere to and follow. I know I'm making distinction there, but I think there's a distinction with a difference, because these are not ways to manage sin. They are relational things that we are striving towards. And I see that as a big difference. Okay. All the people were seeing the thunder and the lightning and heard the sound of the horn and saw the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they trembled with fear and kept their distance. They said to Moses, it's a Festivus miracle. I hope that timing worked really well. That would be a hilarious clip if it did. I'll have to go back and see if that made it. Good morning, Omega. They said to Moses, you speak to us, and we will listen, but do not let God speak with us, lest we die. Moses said to the people, do not fear, for God has come to test you, that the fear of him may be before you, so that you do not sin. The people kept their distance, but Moses drew near the thick darkness where God was. So we have here are the things you're to tell the people. You can hear God speaking to the people. Don't come up on the mountain. Moses sharing what they are. The people saying, we can't handle the presence of God. It's terrifying. You can go hang out with God. You tell us what to do. And Moses is like, the whole point of you seeing this is you are supposed to be terrified. Because if you do have proper relationship and respect for God, it will help you not to violate relationship with him. And they're like, nah, we good. We good. You go do that. You tell us what to do. The Lord said to Moses, thus you will tell the Israelites, you yourself have seen that I have spoken with you from heaven. You must not make gods of silver alongside me, nor make gods of gold for yourself. So, is this a new command, or is this a fleshing out of the previous conversation there? You must make for me an altar made of earth. So this is the contrary to what people would want. They would want to have an idol of gold or silver in their hands or to look upon. They want to create something that they can claim as the indwelling place of a god. And God is saying, that's not the way it is with me. You're going to make an altar made of earth, and you will sacrifice on it your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your cattle. Okay, so let me see what the footnote is. On earth, the instructions here call for an altar to be made of natural things, not things manufactured or shaped. Yeah, there are other places where it talks specifically of uncut rocks is what you are to make. Obviously, you're not going to make it out of wood. It would burn up. You shall not make gods of silver, gold or silver alongside me, nor make gods of gold for yourself. D'Angelo, Christianity and Catholics have ignored these instructions. I don't understand how you're saying they've ignored those instructions. They're not. I don't know of any of them making gods of silver and gold. So if you can explain that further. I don't believe that's what they do. I don't believe they're making any gods. You must make an altar, and you will sacrifice on it burnt offerings and peace offerings, your sheep and your cattle. In every place where I cause my name to be honored. So wherever God's name is honored, there you are to do this. I will come to you and I will bless you. If you make me an altar of stone, you must not build it out of stone shaped with tools. Okay, we're getting further clarification. You can choose stones. For if you use your tools on it, you have defiled it. So defiling it is to take it from a state and make it into something unclean. You've made it unclean, and unclean things cannot be used and come into the presence of God. And you must not go by steps to my altar so that your nakedness is exposed. So you do not have steps going up to the altar that someone might be able to see underneath you, and that you are exposed, and that would defile because of your nakedness. So exposure. So you don't make an altar that you got to go up steps like, I'm going to do this elevated thing and be up high and everyone see how great it is. No. Down low is where that is. I was guessing that he was talking about icons, but icons are not gods. So Altus, essentially there is one command, love God. Oops, scrolled on me. That breaks down to two commands, how to love God and how to love your neighbor. And that creates 5 principles that break down into 10 commands that break down into 613. Ooh, I've never seen it fully fleshed out that way. I have seen there are 2 commandments, love God and love your neighbor. And those create 5 principles that break down into 10 commandments. I don't think I've seen the 5 principles into 10 commandments, but I could see that. And then those 10 break down into 613. Yeah, those 613 point back to those. Absolutely, Altus. Good. I've not heard it said that way, but I like how you said that. D'Angelo. Because they say Jesus is a Godhead and they call the Divine Trinity. Also, you see them pray, you may see them praying with a cross around their neck. Or if you go to church, you can see there are giant crosses made of material of gold. You can see them in a church. Well, making a representation of the cross is not worshiping a cross. So you can make an argument that it is creating an image, a graven image earlier, but the point of the commands are to worship them. The use of a cross isn't worshiping a cross. Oh, what do we have? What do we have?
With 15 viewers.
We've got a raid from Miss Comfy Cozy. We'll come back to this. Don't let me forget. We're going to come back to it. Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in, Miss Comfy Cozy. Game of night. Oh, I'm watching you people coming in with the raid as well. Admiral John Candy, thank you for the redeem. Hope all is well. How was your stream? Those of you who are coming in, what is it that you love about Mrs. Comfy Cozy? Love hanging out with her? What is it about her that you love and enjoy? Love to hear your thoughts. And it says you were playing WoW. You were playing WoW. Hope you had a good game. Hope you had a good time. Hope you won. Carol Cammy. Welcome in. Miss Comfy goes, the stream was awesome. So happy to have friends with great convo and coffee. Ooh, that does sound good. It does sound good. I have Earl Grey today, baby. Earl Grey all day today. Oh, that is pretty full, I get, but oh well. I'll finish topping that off. So, there are some highlights. That's an old highlight reel. I should make a new one in the new year sometime, you know, when I'm not busy. I'm doing very well, friend. Doing very well. So welcome in. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And thank you, mods, for welcoming everybody and getting shout-outs. All right. Seb, hey, welcome in. So, those of you who just came in with the raid who do not know, I am Flat Cap, Dapper Pastor. I have hats. I have fish. We read the Bible. Oops. I went to grab a cough drop, which I'm still trying to get over the cough I got at Reach Conference. Pretty close to getting over it. Finally. Thank you for the follow, Carol Cammy. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So, we're in the middle of reading Exodus 20. Excuse me. We read Messiah on Monday, which is the Gospels. We read Torah on Tuesdays, which we're doing today. First 5 books of Moses. Wisdom on Wednesdays. We're in Proverbs. Transform Thursdays. We're looking at things that can help you in your walk and faith. And Fridays are favorites. We're reading the book of Acts right now. Now, whether you believe what I believe or don't believe what I believe does not matter for you to be here. We are here to spend time together, to create an environment and a place where we can care for one another. We can be in dialogue and discussion, because I think it is best to study God's word in discussion, not I teach and you listen. It is discussion, and we challenge, and we look at and we read out loud. Okay, I think it's very important that you read out loud. Don't just do your devotions quietly. Read them out loud when you are doing it. So, anyway, it's ads in 5 minutes. Okay, I thought it was starting now. Oh, one of my mods must have snoozed it. Thanks, mods, for the snooze there, because I knew it was coming quick. So, Altus giving your opinion that Tuesday is the best day. Well, then be here every Tuesday. Ha-ha. So, hey, I'm doing it right then. Yeah. So, I have atheist friends who are here. I have a Sikh friend who comes regularly. I have Muslims who show up. I have atheists who are here. Whatever you believe, you are welcome. There is no requirement that you believe what I believe. There is just a requirement that you treat each other the way that I treat you. And that's what we're going to do here. So let me give you a look around real quick. We'll come back to this. So I said I had fish. There we go. There are some of the fish. There is the pond outside covered in snow. There is Waiwis, the albino plecostomus in the upper left. There are some guppies in the lower left, and there is Lake Superior in all its glory that is there. So, oh, you know what else? Because I have multi-channels. Like, if you want to watch the fish, you can go watch the fish. There's also an underwater cam in my tank in the back room there that has dozens of them that just came out of the pond because I have a leak in my pond. Podcast today on the Church Digital channel. I have another channel with the Church Digital. We are a digital missionary equipping agency. And so if you are so inclined and want to learn more about that, if that's something you are interested in, you can go get more information about that. Also, podcast next Wednesday with Night Saber. So I do a podcast. I bring on friends. We talk about what it's like being a Twitch streamer, intentionally being a Christian streamer in the space. So that's what we are doing over there. Podcast today, podcast next Wednesday. And the podcast is going to be rebranded come the beginning of the year. But if you miss those, they go out on YouTube every Thursday. Come next year, hopefully they are in every place where you can get a podcast, not just on YouTube, because the VODs don't get stick around for very long on Twitch anymore. So I think I've said everything. VODs, did I remember everything? Did I forget something? Feel free to share it in the chat. Okay, so before you came in, the question was posed around Catholics and whether Catholics are violating some of the things. And I think that would go for even Orthodox Christians as well, who have icons and other symbols and things, or even Christians that wear a necklace with a cross on it. Is that violating all of these commandments that God has said? Christian music song battle? Yeah, that'll be the week of Christmas, so I don't have that up and ready yet. Yeah, it doesn't take long to do the song battle. That's the week of Christmas, so... Admiral John Candy, but you must all agree that pineapple is legitimate pizza topping or you'll be banned. No. Fruit, I don't care what kind of fruit. Fruit does not go with tomato sauce. End of story. Now, I'm not saying you can't have it on pizza. It means you are rejecting tomato sauce. And I don't care if you say, well, tomatoes are fruit. I don't care. You can call it whatever you want. And technically, yeah, it's a fruit. I don't care. That's the only fruit that goes on pizza is tomatoes. And you can have tomatoes as a topping. Love tomatoes as a topping. But no, fruit. I don't care what fruit you put on it. I'm not eating a pizza with fruit on it. So, you're free to eat it. Don't call it pizza. Okay, is that fun enough for you? You know what? Let's wait. We got ads going to be coming in. We'll wait to ads to get back to the discussion, but we were talking about how are these put into place? How do those things happen? And are people violent? Bananas are technically a berry. Supersonic, welcome in, friend. Are they? That's interesting, because I thought berries had seeds on the outside, and technically a banana has a seed inside the peel. I don't know. Altus, what about watermelon and rosemary on pizza? I have never heard of watermelon on pizza. Not planned. Like I said, I do not put fruit with tomato sauce. That's the deal. So if you want to put Alfredo, maybe. D'Angelo, yeah, these commandments, which are instructions against making idols and worshiping them, are being ignored. They're being ignored, whilst the one ignoring them is convincing themselves they're not being ignored. We'll come back to that. We got ads.
He's got that flat cap dapper look, making waves online, spreading the word on Twitch. pastor with a cheerful heart, no lie, preaching joy so high to the sky. He'll be right back, yes, he'll be right back. He'll be back in 2 or 3. Flat cat dapper, flat cat dapper. We'll be right back after this break. No mistake, joy they make. I'll be right back. Yeah, we'll be right back in 2 or 3. Right back after this break. No mistake, joy they make. I'll be right back, yes, I'll be right back in 2 or 3.
All right. So, what these we're talking about is worshiping things that are not God himself. So, D'Angelo, I don't have any Catholic friends that worship the cross. They use the cross in a service of worship. They're not worshiping the cross. So I do not see, and if I've never heard them say they're worshiping the cross or they're worshiping an icon. They are not worshiping. They themselves do not claim to be worshiping. So I disagree that they are making idols and worshiping them, because they don't claim to be making idols and worshiping them. And if they have no intent of making an idol and they are not worshiping it, I don't see how they're violating this. Now, you may disagree with me. You're free to do that. But what I am trying to do is listen to what they claim and what they teach. And none of them are making the claim that they are worshiping it. Nor does anyone I know that wears a necklace with a cross on it claim to be worshiping the necklace around their neck. They are carrying it as a symbol that says, I am bearing the name Christian so that people will know that I am a Christian and I am bringing the presence of Christ with me wherever I go. So I don't know anyone that worships the cross. Now, maybe you have, and I just don't know those people. But I want to listen to how they describe what they are doing and what they describe their beliefs are, not someone else who's attacking them for their beliefs who is not actually practicing those beliefs. Those aren't the people that I plan to listen to about what Catholics believe. So I don't know if you disagree with me or not. You're willing to say more. And, yeah, the pizza debate and discussion is free to continue. I did not catch all of it with some habanero raspberry sauce. That sounded very interesting. I'll go this. If you haven't been here before, there is no such thing as cheese pizza either. I'm sorry. It's just breadsticks with sauce and cheese added. It's just cheesy breadsticks with sauce added. It is not pizza. If there are no toppings, it ain't pizza. And it will not be served in my house. I'm sorry if your kids don't like pepperoni. They have fingers. They can pick them off. Okay? Seriously. Altus, we don't have pizza that often. LOL. Your last one was fresh mozzarella balls cut up into pesto and put over naan bread that was coated. Oh, naan with butter, garlic, and basil sounds amazing. It's impossible to find kosher pizza, and your kids are very creative when they make theirs at home. Altus, there was a place when I lived near Waterloo, Cedar Falls, Iowa, called Tony's Pizza. They had gluten-free, dairy-free, kosher pizza. gluten-free, dairy-free, kosher pizza. It was really good, actually really good. Well, you don't have to have pepperoni. You can have sausage. You can have mushroom. It was Tony's Pizza, but I don't think it's a widespread chain. I only know of it in the Waterloo, Cedar Falls area of Iowa. So, but like I said, they had gluten-free, dairy-free, kosher pizza. And they had multiple toppings that you could get. Okay. All right. We made it through 20. Now we'll continue into 21. These are the ordinances that you will set before them. So we have the covenant relationship that we've just established. Now we're going to get into some more things. D'Angelo. I'm not attacking. I'm just going with what Exodus says, particularly 20 verses 3 through 5, whether they keep the cross and worship it or a person behind the cross, Jesus. That is a perfect example of what do you mean, whereby they are worshiping another individual and convinced they are not. But then again, it's future and life if you choose to use it this way. Good luck. Okay, so you're saying that worship of Jesus is the problem. Okay. Because I don't see them worshiping the cross. So it sounds like, D'Angelo, your issue is with the Trinity. Then that would be all Christians. Well, I shouldn't say all. I take that back. I would say majority Christians, because majority Christians believe in the Trinity. And the New Testament, Jesus makes several claims, which we looked at yesterday, of Jesus going to be stoned to death because the crowd believed him making the claim to be God, and they're stoning him, and he doesn't refute the claim that they are asserting against him. He even clarifies and says, for which one of my miraculous deeds are you going to stone me for? And they say, not for any of your deeds, but because you, a man, are making the claim to be God. And he doesn't refute them. And there's several other examples where people do worship, which there was one in there as well with Lazarus. Not Lazarus. It was on the heels of Lazarus that there was someone worshiping him. And he doesn't refute that either. Or when Thomas does, my Lord and my God, he doesn't refute it. And then on Matthew 28, when they're up on the mountain and some worshiped, he doesn't refute it. So if you have an issue with the Trinity, that's so totally separate, and that's within most Christians. And I understand, oh my goodness, the Trinity is a hard thing to explain, a hard thing to comprehend. But the difference is it is one God in three persons, and I know that sounds like, well, you're splitting hairs and all of that. Yeah, I get that. So, D'Angelo, and you're fine with remaining here in disagreement. No issue with you being in disagreement. I don't take issue with people that do not accept the Trinity. I don't know that you have to fully comprehend the Trinity or believe in it to follow God and to follow Jesus. I don't think you do. I don't think you have to comprehend all of that. I still think you can. So, Admiral, communion could be considered as an idol in that view, but I view communion as a symbol pointing to Jesus. Well, I view communion as participation in the sacrifice of Jesus. So I have a different view. I believe it's participation. All right. Love the discussion, by the way. Love the discussion. D'Angelo. It sounds like we see things differently, and I think you've done let me just say this way, and anyone else who D'Angelo has done a really wonderful job. I just want to thank you for this. A wonderful job of trying to articulate the points that they want to share and the stance where they're coming from without name calling, without disparaging anybody. I made the accusation of them attacking Catholics. I didn't mean it from the standpoint of attacking them at a personal level, but I meant their stance. That's what I meant. So maybe I chose poorly on my word of attacking, and you came back and clearly tried to say, I'm trying to share my view. I'm not trying to attack. I have issue with how they practice what I see being a problem. Totally get where you're coming from. Yes, but food, drinks are symbols is your point. Okay. Yeah, I got you. Pointing to the blood and body. Yes. I would go further, but we don't need to have a discussion on communion. So you know what? If you've been enjoying this conversation, like, I know I'm going to steal this from Lux Digital Church. Just put a 5 in chat, or just put some emojis in chat. Like, this has been a really good discussion. I've really been enjoying this discussion this morning. I know I come at Exodus 20 from a different angle than probably most of you have heard before. And then we also had another perspective brought in here, which is a valid concern that the church has tried to address multiple times along the way, which is having a symbol or a painting of Jesus a problem? We have to wrestle with that. Is a cross having a problem? You know, so this is fun to me to discuss things so that we can draw closer to God. Because I think when we don't spend any time talking about or thinking about these things, we end up wandering away and farther from God. So to discuss them, even if we walk away from this discussion not having changed our mind, we have, in fact, been honoring God's word to us and honoring one another. I don't mean honoring as in praising and worshiping. I mean honoring that you are an image bearer of God, and I'm honoring that in you, that you are created in the image of God, and that brings God glory when we can have wonderful discussions like this. So I want to just say thank you to everyone here today, and the raiders, and the raid, and everyone who just comes and hangs out. It's a good time, I would say. All right, I'm going to just check if I have any messages that I need to deal with. Does not look like it. Just trying to make an assessment of how long I want to stick around. Okay. None of those look like they are important. Okay. All right. So let's move into other things. And again, I don't view these like it's a checklist, because as soon as it becomes a checklist, I'm now in sin management. And God is establishing relationship with people. I don't go do things to honor, love, and respect my wife because it's a checklist. I do them because of relationship. And I do them as a starting point of relationship. And so that's the thing we need to keep in mind here. This is not sin management. The problem, I think, most of the time, and I will not argue that the 10 Commandments should be posted anywhere in public. Yeah, they're a great thing to have, and it'd be nice if people followed them, but posting them in public does not change people's behavior. So also, then people see them posted, they're not in relationship. Why would they follow things if they're not in relationship with the God who gave them as a way to be in relationship? And if you're just posting them as a basis for rules to follow, I think that's a bad way to approach them. Okay. I saw the question there about the songs, and then Lucis, what are you wondering? But anyway, maybe it's just for you and I'm watching and I'm all good. Okay. These are the ordinances that you will set before them. So here are the things, here's the conditions on how to live. How do I actually fulfill this relationship? If you buy a Hebrew servant, he is to serve you for 6 years. But in year 7, he will go out free without paying anything. So why would you do this? There is no welfare system, okay? People are going to sell themselves into slavery when they cannot pay debts, when they have a bad management of the land and they're not able to get a crop. They're going to be destitute. They're going to sell themselves. This is not an endorsement of having slaves. This is a way to practice something to keep and change people's respect for one another. So, this is a change, not a permanent situation. If, if he came in by himself, he will go out by himself. If, if he had a wife when he came in, then his wife will go out with him. If, if his master gave him a wife and she bore sons or daughter, the wife and the children will belong to her master, and he will go out by himself. But if, if the servant should declare, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go free, then his master must bring him to the judges, and he will bring him to the door or the doorpost, and his master will pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. So the chances are people are going to be destitute. How do you get out of it? There is no system for helping people out of that system of poverty. Here's one way. You sell yourself as a servant, a slave, who has no control over yourself, but you are cared for by your master. There is a way to do it, but we're not doing it with our people forever. We're to set them free. We're to do a different thing than everyone else around. So, Southside TV love, thank you for the biddies. All right, 10-2. Thank you for the reminder there, Lucis. Since we are going a little late and we're not going to end it yet, let's go ahead and do that. So those that do not know, Luke 10:2 says the harvest is plentiful and the workers are few. So pray to the Lord of the harvest to send out workers into the harvest. So at Luke 10:2, so at 10:02 in your time zone, wherever it may be, we invite you, the Church Digital does, to join in prayer for the harvest, so that God will send out workers into the harvest, into digital spaces. So that's what we are doing. So, God, we are in agreement with Jesus, who told us to pray to you, asking you to send out more and more workers. I keep seeing more and more workers for the harvest in Twitch and in other digital places. You are putting the burden on people's hearts for those in digital spaces who will never walk through the doors of a church, who have no desire, who have been hurt by the church, or have no relationship with anyone who is a Christian. And in digital ways, we can get into the palm of their hand in ways that we've never been able to get before them. So God, send out more and more workers, send out streamers, send out mods, send out just people to be that person of peace in a stream that just brings hope, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, and self-control, to be salt and light wherever they go. God, we just pray this and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Oof, I need to wait. I'll put it on a sticky note. Well, then, Omega, what we are desiring is that there is someone in every time zone around the world, so that every hour there is a prayer for this to take place. That is one of the things we are hoping. So, Omega, you are in another time zone. Yes, wait an hour and pray. Join me in prayer for it. And if it's 02, it's 10:02 somewhere. So even if you're like, well, I got to do it at a different hour, then you just do it in the time zone that matches of 10:02. And you do it then. So. And technically, we are also praying at 10:02. We could be praying at 10:02 p.m., so 12 hours from now. In the Philippines, it is 10:02. So we're praying with the Philippines right now. So we really only actually need, well, we still need 24 to have it all day long. But anyway, you get my point. All right. Bum, bum, bum. So we're going to go into another scenario. If, bum, 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 if a man sells his daughter as a female servant, why would he do this? Because he doesn't have the means to provide for all of his children. So he is going to sell them so that he can provide for the other children that he does have. Okay. Hey, Banana Hannah. No cap dapper pastor. Yes, you know what? We have the redeem. And, I'm watching, I have an emote made here, and you know what? I forget, but it never gets used. It should get used. This emote is for this very purpose. That right now there is no hat, so there is the emote for the no hat. There we go. 2 minutes remaining. Okay. If a man sells his daughter, this is not commending people to do this. This is saying, should this arise? Okay, this is not an endorsement of it. It is talking about should this end up happening. Oh, D'Angelo, how does he pick who to sell? Does he sell his least favorite? I don't know how you would pick this. I really don't know. It doesn't give criteria for how to do that. It might be a matter of which one has the most skill set that I can get the most value, or it's the one that is going to add the least to my household. I don't know how he chooses to do this, okay? It's a matter of necessity, and they're going to come up with a way to do it. Maybe the one he can't marry off. I am trying to let you have a moment. I'm not trying to disparage that. I was only reading chat. Okay. She goes, she will not go out as the male servants do. If she does not please her master, who has designated her for himself, then he must let her be redeemed. So redeeming is the ability to take and purchase back out of the condition that you are in. So it's restoring. He has no right to sell her to a foreign nation. So if you are an Israelite, you have no right to be sold to another nation. You can't do that. Even if they're displeasing to you, you can't sell outside of because they are going to treat you differently than we do. Oh, was this one of the methods of the disciple? Oh, yeah, casting lots. Could have done it that way. That's an idea. Casting lots could have been done. Yeah, it's casting lots. That would be one way to do it, to make it out of your hands. If he designated her for his son, then he will deal with her according to the customary rights of daughters. So if he's going to buy your daughter and he's going to then give that daughter to his son, then then we go under the rules of marriage. We're moving out there. You're shifted it into a new relationship. If he takes another wife. Okay, so this sounds like the selling of your daughter is to be a servant, but is going to be perhaps a concubine. That's what this sounds like. You are selling your daughter to be a concubine. Maybe she becomes the wife of the son instead. So it's not arranging a marriage, it's selling. So instead of having a dowry that would go with the wife, which, by the way, the dowry in some ways is supposed to be the wife's guarantee that should she leave the husband, she has means. It's not a purchasing. Anyway, that's a whole separate thing. We don't need to go down that road. Okay, if if he takes another wife, he must not diminish the first one's food, her clothing, her marital rights. Okay, so if you are a wife, you have the right to food, clothing, and marital rights. And those are not to be diminished if you have more than one wife. if if he does not provide her with these 3 things, then she shall go free without paying money. So instead of having to redeem her, he does not want her, she can go free. So rabbit's dowry. Yeah. All right, and timer is up. And I gave you a little extra there. Okay, so these are rules which are going to establish better ways to treat people than the surrounding nations. These are not saying we want these to happen. We are saying we understand that this situation could arise. How do we do it better than the people around us? How do we do it honoring and respecting people? The dowry is really the origin of the engagement ring, you believe. Well, the dowry is what the woman brings with her to the marriage. But maybe you're right. Maybe there is something of the engagement ring. I don't know. I know little bits, and I would say go study from someone else who's going to know that better than me. And then different cultures are going to have different established rules. So you get all of that conflation of stuff, too, over time. The bride price. Yeah. Okay. Whoever strikes someone so that he dies must surely be put to death. So we've already had the establishment of thou shalt not murder. Now we're getting a little bit like, hey, you hit someone and they died. That'd be manslaughter. So you did kill them. Okay? So you did, whether you intended for them to die or not, you were the one who perpetrated the reason for their death. But if if he does not do it with premeditation, but it happens by accident, then it will be appointed for you a place where you may flee. So if I accidentally kill you, I have a way to flee, but if a man willingly attacks his neighbor to kill him cunningly, you will take him even from the altar that he may die. So we're going to give the instructions of this in another place where you flee to the city. There are 3 cities that you can go to, one in the north, one in the south, one in the east of the Jordan. That I think there are 3 of them. That are cities of refuge that you can go to. If you accidentally kill someone, you can flee from the kinsman redeemer who is going to seek your life for life. And you go there until the priest dies. So you have sanctuary there in that city. But if you leave the city, you're fair game. So you have to stay within the walls. So here, if you flee and it was premeditation and it's proven it's premeditation, you get to be stripped from the altar. You do not get to have sanctuary. You do not pass go. Do not collect $100. Do not live. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Whoever strikes his father or his mother must surely be put to death. I don't know. I was making the point earlier with the honoring your father and mother that it was really the intent of thinking of adults. I don't know if this is adults here or if this could be included in teenagers. I've not looked into this one thoroughly. So that needs some clarification there. But striking here, let me see what the footnote says. This is the same construct that is used in verse 12, but there is no mention of the parent's death. Okay, so even if the parent doesn't die, but you are attacking them, then you are... Why? Because the relationship is different, and you are attacking the relationship. So I don't think this is just like I got mad and I slapped you or something like that. I think I'm making a fist and I'm going at you. Whoever kidnaps someone and sells him or is caught still holding must surely be put to death. So kidnapping or intended kidnapping and selling, whether you that's the death penalty. Why? Because you are selling someone. You are intending their harm. If if men fight and one strikes his neighbor with a stone or with his fist, and he does not die, but must remain in bed. And then if, he gets up and walks about outside with a staff, then the one who struck him is innocent, except he must pay for the injured person's loss of time and see that he is fully healed. So injury requires restitution too, not just death. Okay, we got ads coming in. Let's go check out those fishies. And then we'll be back.
Flat cat past a rocks his tweed, streaming life by the reeds. Fish pond calm and glassy clear, view it all right from here. Dapper man with sax in hand, plays tunes by his quiet land. Acoustic guitar in the breeze serenades the fish with ease. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his song. Flat cat pastor shows the way, stream it live come what may. With his cam he shows it all, little fish both big and small. Life in ponds so serene, nature's beauty on a screen. See the ripples, watch the flow, hear the music, gentle glow. Flat cap's charm and calming tone makes the fish feel right at home. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his song. Flat cat pastor shows the way, stream it live come what may. Refuse cam, he shows it all. Little fish, both big and small.
All right. We're back.
so
We
serene.
back.
Nature's
I don't know. It looks
beauty
like,
on
okay,
screen.
you can see on the lake there, it just looks like it's fog out
See
there.
the
That might be
ripples,
snow rolling
watch the
in
flow,
out there on the lake, but the lake is
hear the
calm
music,
like glass out there. That's
gentle
super cool. I love when it does that. All right, I'm watching. You had to go get a package that the delivery person left on the floor. Ooh. Just trying to problem solve that. Is there a way that you could leave like a table, like a little end table or a shelf for packages to go on so that they're up higher for you to retrieve? I don't know if it's possible. I don't know the situation where they're left, any of that stuff. I'm just trying to brainstorm an idea to help, but maybe it's not possible. But glad you're back. Okay. So again, these seem like situational circumstances and how to deal with them. So while they are placed here right after and included with Moses going up on top of Mount Sinai, they are an expansion of how do you live out, as Altus was pointing out earlier, how do you live out the 10 words, the 10 sayings, the 10 commandments, however you want to phrase that. I tend to like the 10 sayings myself. I don't know. That you are trying to live those out. How do we apply those? This is what it's trying to do. So these could be seen as case law that has been accumulated over the 40 years of wandering in the desert as Moses is solving the cases, which we talked about back in chapter 18 when Jethro says what you're doing is not good, but all the tough cases you bring to God. Here are the rulings on all of those, which could be laid out here. And for sake of the fact that we just had the instructions giving the overall guidance of how we're to live, we now have case law that's put in afterward. So we could think of it as these cases that came up, and here's the rulings that are settled, as opposed to he's up on Mount Sinai for the 40 days. God's putting scenarios out there and saying, well, if this happens, let me tell you about it. And if this happens, it's being written in the style that it is that. It's putting in the place of it is that. But there's other ways to view this. So I don't know if you've ever heard that or thought of it, but I tend to think that that makes some sense. All right. Meow. I'm watching. No, your hallways are too skinny. You may see if you get on those heavy-duty wreath hangers if a friend can buy you one of those. Ooh, A heavy-duty wreath hanger. Okay. Anyway, I didn't make the assumption your hallways were wide enough. I thought, if it happened to be that you're in the corner of the hallway or the end of it, you might have extra space that nobody'd have to walk past. But, those are rare. All right. Okay. Continuing. If if a man strikes his male servant or his female servant with a staff so that he or she dies as a result of that blow, he will surely be punished. However, if if the injured servant survives 1 or 2 days, the owner will not be punished, for he has suffered loss. So this is one of those weird ones that people get upset about, of like beating your servant to death. We're not having that. But you beat your servant and you didn't intend for them to die. You were intending to punish them, and they end up dying a couple of days later. You're going to suffer the loss from them no longer being your property, so you've suffered loss. But going around and intentionally killing your slave because you think you have the freedom to, you have violated their dignity, and you violated the commands of do not murder, because that's still going to be murder. Now, if you are punishing them, you're striking them, correcting them, and you go too far and they're injured and they end up dying, you didn't have the intent. So here, I think it's you're striking your female servant and you just keep going, and you result in their death because that's what you're going for. They die instantly because you didn't hold back. That's the same punishment, my friend. So, I don't know of any other group of people. So here's where people get hung up with the slavery thing in the Bible. There are rules being instituted here that nobody else institutes. Slaves are just straight up treated as chattel, everywhere, okay? You can do what you want with it. It's your property. There's no consequences, essentially. They're establishing consequences, and that these are still people. That's what we have here. We're establishing they are still created in the image of God. I don't think this is God's ideal. I think it is an accommodation that God is giving, given circumstances of the world. So I don't want to implement these things. I don't want slavery. I want none of it. We have other systems in place to care for people that have this problem of not being able to provide for themselves and being sold into slavery, or being captured and being sold into slavery, or being, captured in war. All right. So if any of this you struggle with, I get it. These are passages that, yes, absolutely, which is why we start with Artsy Bible Nerd. Thank you for the reminder. Which is why chapter 20, or maybe it was 19, begins with, remember that I am the God who brought you out of slavery. So we're not going to do this like everyone else. Yes, remember that you were slaves. Exactly. You're to treat slaves differently. You knew how it was to be a slave. Thank you, Artie. Good reminder. If if men fight and hit a pregnant woman and her child is born prematurely, but there is no serious consequence, the one who hit her will surely be punished in accordance with what the man's husband demands of him, and he will pay what the court decides. So if I strike someone who's pregnant, premature birth happens, we know it's premature, she wasn't ready to deliver, but the child survives. Now, I don't know how long the child has to survive, okay? There's no serious injury. Does this mean just at birth, or do we got to wait a couple of years? If the death happens within a couple of years, can I still be blamed? Possibly. But the husband is going to make demands, and the court is going to rule if those demands are just. But if, there is serious injury, then you will give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, bruise for bruise. Okay, so now this does not mean that this has to be understood literally, because there's always a chance and a way to redeem things. What this is stating is you do not seek more than the injury. That's the point here. So if the child comes out and the child has an eye injury, you only get restitution for the injury to the eye. If the child comes out with a hand or a foot injury, you only get restitution for the hand or the foot injury. You don't get to take life for injury. This is a limitation thing to keep escalation and retribution and revenge. So it's not a command that if you injured my child's eye, I get to poke your eye out. It's not a revenge issue here. Let me see what the footnote has. It's a limitation so that you cannot seek vengeance. The text introduces lex talionis with cases that were not likely to have applied to the situation of the pregnant. Okay. Hollister Man 20. Hope you have an amazing day, and don't forget that you matter and you are more than what you think. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for that. Those are such encouraging words, friend. Appreciate that. Okay. So we're getting like, these are just cases that are like, here's another case, here's another case, here's another case. If, if a man strikes the eye of his male servant or his female servant so that he destroys it. So we just had the listing of eye for an eye here going that direction, but it's also pointing that direction. He will let the servant go free as compensation for the eye. So if I injure you, that is going to cause problems to your livelihood, you get to go free. If, if he knocks out the tooth of his servant, his male servant or his female servant, he will let the servant go free as compensation for the tooth. Like even just a tooth, like I knock your tooth out. So permanent bodily injury results in freedom. So you want to make any arguments around slavery in, America and the South and all of that. They weren't practicing this from a biblical standpoint of striking and injuring and killing. They were not setting free. They were not having retribution. They were treating them as chattel. They weren't following these. So even if they were trying to make the claim that the Bible permits it, they were not following the rules that were established along the way for this. If an ox gores a man or a woman so that either dies, then the ox must surely be stoned, and its flesh must not be eaten, but the owner of the ox will be acquitted. So if your ox, and I think this applies to other animals, if your ox kills a person, the ox is killed. You don't get to eat the ox. You don't get to eat it. You don't get to benefit. You lost the benefit. You are sacrificing it because it is being given for the life that was taken. But if, the ox had a habit of goring and its owner was warned, but he did not take the necessary precautions, and then it killed a man or woman, the ox must be stoned and the man must be put to death. So if I have an ox that's gored some people and they've survived and now it kills a person, I knew better. I should have killed the ox. I shouldn't have left it around. I get to be put to death because I had a dangerous animal that harmed people. Now, one might make the argument in regards to any animal could be seen this way, and therefore, like if I have dogs, I'm just thinking of a modern day scenario of a dog that has bitten people, and now that dog bites someone else and kills them, then this might be one of those consequences. I know this dog bites. I need to put the dog down. Just as a guidance, I'm not saying hard and fast rule, but just thinking that through, how would you feel? So, Red Fire Trevor, welcome in. Keep being amazing, sharing the word, appreciate all that you do. Thank you, friend. It was great to catch you for a while yesterday. That was fun. I don't often get to catch you. But my wife was out of town, and I just thought, who can I go hang with? And I saw you, and I went, I want to hang out for a while. So I did. It was fun. Okay. If if a ransom is set for him, then he must pay the redemption for his life according to whatever amount was set for him. So you can get redeemed by paying out of this, depending on who the person is. Trevor, yeah, it was your pleasure and being blessing to the chat with you last night. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. If if the ox gores a son or a daughter, the owner will be dealt with according to this rule. If if the ox gores a male servant or a female servant, the owner must pay 30 shekels of silver and the ox must be stoned. So I do not think that we're back to the, if you know that it is an ox that gores, we've moved from death to just goring. And so goring, they're going to be dealt with according to a rule of eye for eye, tooth for tooth. But if it's a servant, it's just a flat fee because it's going to the one that owns the person. Again, I don't think this is endorsing things. This is talking about situations that the people are going to end up in potentially. And likely, I see these as these are situations that they indeed did have come about. And these could be seen as the rulings of Moses that have been set down as case law for people to then apply in the future. If if a man opens a pit, or if a man digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls into it, the owner of the pit must repay for the lost. He must give money to its owner, and the dead animal will become his. So, if your animal dies, I get the carcass, but I have to pay you for it. I get a dead animal. Yay, I get to eat it. Or if it's a donkey, I don't get to eat it. I get a dead donkey. I get a dead donkey that I can't eat. Yay, me, dead donkey. Because donkeys were unclean, if you didn't understand that. If if the ox of one man injures the ox of his neighbor so that it dies, then they will sell the live ox and divide the proceeds. They will also divide the dead ox. Oh, I like that. That seems really just. So my animal killed your animal. We sell the remaining animal. We split the meal of the dead animal, and we split the proceeds of the animal that is alive. Or if it is known that the ox had a habit of goring, and its owner did not take the necessary precautions, he must surely pay ox for ox, and the dead animal will become his. So, if my animal had the problem of doing this, I got to pay, and I get the dead animal. Okay. So, here, when you see this, this means that in the Hebrew, this is in the previous chapter, not in this chapter. Since it's about ox, I want to read that, and then we will be wrapping up for the day. If a man steals an ox or a sheep and kills it or sells it, he must pay back 5 head of cattle for the ox and 4 sheep for 1 sheep. So if I take your cattle, I pay back 5-fold. If I take a sheep, I pay back 4-fold. And I think one of the reasons for that is the risk of getting a cow to the state of a cow is much more difficult than getting sheep to the state of a sheep. I mean, sheep are going to grow up much faster. It's going to have much less intensive. And this is designed to be a deterrent. Now, some of these things are designed for how to deal with retribution. Sounds like a bank loan. Well, this is worse than a bank loan. 5, this is designed for restoration. You have harmed community. You have harmed a person. You are going to make it right. Here is how you pay it back. Here's how you make it right. Okay, we're going to end there for today. I'm just going to, we'll probably start there. So we made it through 21. So we did 20 and 21. Ooh, pretty excited about that. So we did Exodus 21. If you don't know that, that's a Bugs Bunny reference. 21. And We did 20 and 21. We got through quite a bit there. All right. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out today. I hope you had a good time. We had some good discussion there. That last section was just kind of like, and if this happens, don't do this. Or if this happens, thou shalt make restitution by means of. And we're going to limit this so that things do not get out of hand. You don't take matters into your own hands. We're going to settle this with civilized understanding that the other person is created in the image of God as you yourselves are. And to property and to animals alike, we're going to give care. So I think all of those are case law limitations on don't go overboard, don't take matters into your own hands. Like, you harmed my son, I'm going to kill your whole family. No, we're not having that. Well, that might be the way that the world does things. That might be the way that other nations do things. But no, sorry, Bob, not doing that here. We are going to have things so that restoration takes place. The goal of all of these things are to restore relationship and community. That's how I see those. You maybe disagree, but I think that's what we have here is how do we restore relationship and community with what's going on? Okay, let's find somebody to raid. Oh, I know I saw someone earlier. I was thinking we haven't raided Big Unk in a while. I thought I saw Big Unk was on. Yeah, I want to go raid Big Unk. Let's go raid Big Unk. Let's go bless Big Unk today. We'll give him a wonderful raid over there. And those that don't know, I end every stream by giving you a blessing. There is a redeem for a blessing at any point. There is prayer you can do at any point. You don't have to use the redeem. It's just kind of there to say, hey, you know what? You might need it, and I am absolutely wanting to give you whatever it is. So I send you out this way every day. May God's seeking comfort find you. May his loving arms bind you. May his might protect you. May his wisdom direct you. May the joyous love of Jesus Christ be with you and all those you know, both now and forevermore. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I don't know why I want to say Red Trevor. Red Fire X Trevor, it was a pleasure to stop by for a bit. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Thank you. Now let's go and let's bless other people, including I'm watching you people. By the way, podcast later today on the Church Digital channel.
Flat cap on his head, he's streaming live. Reading from the book, the word so alive. A prayer in his heart that lifts the soul. In the digital world where spirits roll. Hallelujah, from the screen we scream. Join the pastor in the holy dream, spreading love with every verse he reads, planting hope like precious seeds. He's a shepherd with a virtual flock, leading us to faith around the clock. Tapping amen as we raise our hands in this sacred digital land. Don't need a pew to find the light. Through a screen he's shining bright, preaching peace and guiding us right. In our hearts his fire ignites. Hallelujah, from the screen we scream. Join the pastor in the holy dream, spreading love with every verse he reads, planting hope like precious seeds. Chat is buzzing with the gospel truth.
drawing people closer to God.
Chat is buzzing with the gospel truth. Every line a fountain of youth. Bible open pages turning slow. Feel the spirit start
It's been a minute.
to flow.
You do something different with your hair. I aged. That's all it is. I aged. Stress. The stress of a full-time content creator to get the best of you. I gained my weight back plus some. Y'all pray for me. I'm about to pass out in this thing, and these lights are burning me up. These lights are burning me up this morning. Good morning again, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I do have a question, though. I do have a question. Holiday question. If Santa Claus really existed, what's the one thing you would want for this Christmas more than anything? Materialistic. Material. No money. No money. All right, let me say that because I know everybody gonna be like, just overflow my bank account. If you had to have one materialistic thing of your dream, what would it be? That's my question for everybody, if you don't mind answering. All right, let me see. What we want? He don't exist. He do 9. It depends on how far he is in your imagination. You right. Let me not ruin that for nobody. Santa Claus do exist. Yeah, he's like the 18th disciple. Let me stop. Miss Dana, welcome in. Just my family together for like. Now, got to be materialistic. I know we had conversations like if you could change one thing in your life, or you could sit down and have a conversation with anybody, past, present, family member. Materialistic. Like, is there one thing like that back massager or a new TV? It got to be materialistic. Well, we have conversations like that all the time, but I know it's Christmas time and some people are excited about a new pair of shoes or maybe a new refrigerator. I don't know. I don't know what people are into no more. Omega, how we doing? Welcome in. Love the dancing gingerbread. Yeah, he's working for Santa. We came up short for the Salvation National Guard. So we trying to earn a little extra money. He said he'll go into the streets and do what he got to do. So he's out there getting some change. Yeah, don't judge. We don't judge over here. We're a judgment-free community. We don't judge. We